how was it for you to wear so many hats? Confusing, complicated?
Yeah, it was definitely too many hats. And my number one hat was really, babysitting Tom Sizemore, way beyond directing, way beyond acting. Those things were like way secondary. Really, I had to keep him. I think he's used to, a certain professionalism, and we were a certain low budget. And so really my number one job out of all those hats was taking care of Tom. And all of his needs.
But he did a good job, no? I think.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did a great job. He's traveling today, otherwise he would be on this. He says hello. We've been in touch a lot. And, he's actually been super supportive of the film, which is good. I actually made another film in my 20s. I made a really good film. And in today's market, I totally would have been able to sell it. But as a young actor and filmmaker, I didn't get into Sundance and a couple other things, and I just threw it all away, but that was a really good film. It's on my shelf, I didn't throw away everything. I might have one copy that works, a DVD, but I got discouraged, and so I kind of went away from film and TV for a little bit, and then it kind of reeled me back in.
What brought you into this story? Where did you get the inspiration, or is based on what is it based on?
Well,
I love the background. I didn't know about the construction of Central Park and the destruction of that neighborhood.
Totally.
African Americans and Irish. Yeah.
Initially, this was going to be just a classic kind of horror. My boyfriend at the time had said to me, we were upstate in New York, upstate in the woods, where we go on the weekends in this renovated place, this abandoned barn. And he was like, it was always my dream to make a horror film here. And I was like, great. And, I'm a writer and I can do it. So, and then he was wasn't really serious about it. And it turned that he broke up with me. And then, so I was back in Manhattan, and then I was like, I'll move this story here. And then it opened up the Seneca Village history, and just, made a much better film because, I've been in LA for about 1.5 years now. And now I see things in New York and I'm like, oh, I lived there for 20 something years, but now I'm just like, oh, wow. Even after 1.5 years, because I haven't visited because of the pandemic. So, I'm like, man. And so the New York elements of the film are awesome. That's why people film there.
They're great. And let me ask you, how difficult was it to finance the story, and how did you get it?
Yes.
I know it's independent and all that. Oh, it's
super low budget. Yeah. So I had actually a credit card. Sent me a credit card, and I hadn't had a credit card since that first feature film, and then I guess my credit finally resolved itself on its own, and so the second I got one, I was like, yeah, this is the beginning. And then I also was hiking alone in New Jersey, and I was bit by a dog at dusk, which was really scary, and was sort of attacked by a dog, and I had to get all these rabies shots, and so I got a small I know it's crazy, so I got a small settlement from that. So I was like, I'm definitely going to make a film. And then when I got Tom interested, we had a little bit of an investment from a producer, and I was like, we'll squeak by production. That's how, it's not how you're supposed to think. You're not going to be like, I just want to get it in the can, but a lot of people are like, I'll just get it in the can and then work from there,
Tell us a little about the story in few words.
Yeah, so it's about a one-night stand that turns into a never-ending nightmare. Tom plays an alcoholic married doctor who meets me. He reconnects with me, and actually we had a past, and I'm unstable. My character's super unstable. And during a heated argument, when I realized we're not going to be going off into the sunset together, he's telling me it's over. So when he's in another room, I jump out of the window, and then I begin to torment him, though it's unclear if I'm alive or not. And I appear in his dreams, and I let him in on a secret about the long history of Central Park and its dark forces. And then I use these dark forces to take revenge on Tom. And so a lot of the film is Tom trying to return to his normal life, trying to get sober, and keep the secret from his wife. So it's kind of a descent into darkness that way.
What I liked about the movie is that we really don't know if Anna is dead or alive, but she's always there. And do you think she's obsessed?
Yeah.
Sexually obsessed or more humanly obsessed?
Oh, no. It's like an emotional, obsessive, like obsession, really. It's not like a sexual thing. In fact, there's really no sex. I mean, in a low budget thing, I couldn't go possibly go there, right? Like for me personally, I couldn't do that. Maybe if it was like my partner, but in a low budget environment, I mean, I've been on television sets where there's, things are professionally done, but like you can't do that on like low budget. It's just too low class, I think, for me.
Yeah.
Because you know why it's I just realized because it's borderline porn then.
Yeah.
I never really thought that through, but that's the truth.
Yeah. So I thought it in the characters, and do you think she has a capacity to see things?
Yeah.
Over in the voodoo, there's aspects of voodoo as well, or?
Yeah. So sort of the idea was that my ancestor learned voodoo from, when she lived in Seneca Village with the free slaves and African Americans who lived there. And so Seneca Village, for people who don't know, is it was a village founded by free slaves and some Irish immigrants. That's where my ancestor came in, who were fleeing Ireland from the potato famine, I think. And so they had this place, and eminent domain happened, and so they moved everybody to create Central Park. So, and I mean, Central Park was essentially for the elite, for sure, and people, with cash. And so these people who had a village, had schools, churches, cemeteries.
Their own community was destroyed.
Yeah. And cemeteries is where the horror film obviously comes in, So there's that. So I kind of created that, like, she learned voodoo from these people and then created her own witchcraft that she had from Ireland. And then, and then I've learned it as well.
Anna goes through a lot of emotional roller coasters. How did you accomplish that, from being the, la femme fatale, to being a little crazy, to being obsessed, to being a witch? I mean,
it's just a day in my life. It's just a day in my life. It's a breeze. That was the easiest part. If you have any females in your life, I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, I mean, it was challenging, and but it was also fun because I wrote this role because I'm sort of typecast as a certain thing. So I was like, well, I'm going to allow myself to have all this fun as in the character. So that's why I wrote sort of a multifaceted character so I could have some fun.